Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video I have my first update for Retribution Paladins for Shadowlands. So I did not expect to have to do this video quite so quickly after my initial Ret Paladin DPS guide. However, some things have come up. I wanted to go over some misconceptions that people might see in the rankings, and I also wanted to go over with a big change if you are a Kyrian. This specifically affects Kyrian, although it affects everyone to some degree because it deals with the simulation being a bit wrong. So first, let's talk about covenants. So if you are a Kyrian already, that's great, because if you look at the rankings, you're going to see Kyrian completely rocking it out on everything, and you're going to be like, holy crap, Kyrian must be the very best by far. That's not necessarily true. Venthyr is still pretty good. So Venthyr still simulates pretty evenly with Kyrian. You don't really have to change if you don't want to, at least as of now. I do think things scale. I know things scale over the course of an expansion, and at current rates, I think eventually Kyrian will be the way to go, very decisively. But right now, you don't have to change. And so if you're Venthyr, don't worry about it. If you're Venthyr, there isn't really much updates for you. You can continue to run the talents that you're running. If you want to, I will say to at least simulate the thing that I'm going to talk about later and see if it simulates better for you, but it very well may not. But I did want to point that out. And if you're Kyrian, if you're anything else, just keep doing what you're doing. I'm not going to hate on you for playing Necrolord or Night Fae. That's up to you. The rest of this is pretty much mostly for Kyrian. So Kyrian Ret Paladins going forward here. Again, Venthyr, stick to it if you want to, or come over to the Kyrian side and join us. So that's one misconception, is that Kyrian is by far and away the best right now. It is better for PvP though as well, so that could sway you. The other misconception is Magistrates Judgement. If you look at the rankings, you're going to see a lot of people using this. You're still going to see some Mad Paragons. You'll see some random stuff as well. You'll see Relentless Inquisitor. So you'll see random stuff as well. This is because it reduces the cooldown of Holy Power by 1, or a chance to. Judgment does. And then Fires of Justice is the same thing. And people are combining these two to get extra Templar's Verdicts in their execution sentence for single target damage. So that's very strong. However, it doesn't necessarily simulate that way. The simulations could be wrong on this. But as of now, you do not need to put everything into getting your Magister's Judgment. However, I personally have my Mad Paragon already, Tempest of the Lightbringer maxed out already, and so maybe the next one I do is Magister's Judgment, because maybe, first of all, I want to try it out. Second of all, because, like I said, as scaling goes on, perhaps it will become the best one, at least for Kyrians. So why the change? What's the big change for Kyrian? It's this talent combination. Has to do with Ring and Clarity. Our conduit increases the chance that each rank of it increases the chance that your judgment from your divine toll hits the target up to 3 extra times, which is a ton of damage to pump into your execution sentence. So the thing that was wrong was execution sentence was not simulating properly. Something to do with the mastery, I guess. I'm not in charge of the simulations, but execution sentence was simulating wrong. So you can actually use this combination. You can use fires. I wouldn't bother using fires unless it simulates better for you, or if you are trying out the Magister's Judgment, it might be a nice combo there. But again, it might not be. So you can still use Blade if you want, but you have execution sentence, Seraphim, and Final Reckoning. Those are the 3 main ones. Let's talk about the way this works a little bit. So you have Divine Toll, Wake of Ashes, Seraphim, Final Reckoning, and Execution Sentence, all on either a 45-second or 1-minute cooldown. We're going to basically treat them all like they're 1-minute cooldowns. That way we're combining all of their powers into one spectacular burst of damage. So Wake and Seraphim are 45 seconds, but we're going to treat them like they're 1-minute cooldowns. So what you want to do here is you want to go ahead and open up on your thing, and you want to get up to 5 Holy Power, nothing new there. And then you want to Seraphim. Now, it's great if you get an Art of War proc there. However, if you don't, you don't. So we're just going to wait here. We're going to Wings. We're going to Final Reckoning. We're going to Execution Sentence. And then we're going to get as many Templar's Verdicts in as we can. I was a little bit slow there. I should have got one more Templar's Verdict in. I was just a tad too slow there. But my execution sentence still, yeah, I was one off. So my average hit is usually about 30 to 32k on execution sentence. I was just slightly slow there. You do have to make sure that you get every single global perfectly when you're doing this. But that's pretty much the gist of what you're doing there. Again, getting an Art of War proc for your Blade of Justice during your opener is amazing. I can't overstate how important that can be if you're able to do that. I also in that situation I actually used my wake first there. However, it might have been actually more prudent to just kind of judgment, verdict, wake, verdict, divine toll, verdict, and then try to get one more in after that even. The order of things could help as well, especially for how many procs you get on your divine toll. So just want to show you a little bit of how it does work, and the order in which you do it. So again, that's Seraphim at 5 holy power, wings at 5 holy power preferably, 3 or 4 you can make work, final reckoning into your execution sentence, and then immediately start getting as many Templar's Verdicts as possible, but mostly by abusing your Wake of Ashes and your divine toll. So those are what's going to be what really obviously generates the most holy power for you to make sure that you get the most verdicts out as you can. So that's the change to Kyrian. This is a single target thing. I'm not gonna lie, the actual random single target stuff still is close, but this is definitely better. There's no doubt about it. I used it in the raid this week, and this is without a doubt stronger and what you probably should be using for single target fights, especially like Shriekwing, for example, right? That's pretty much a patchwork fight with an intermission phase. For a fight like Hungering, like the 4th boss, depending on what order you go in, for Hungering in the raid. Now, there's running out during consumes, there's running out for expunges. Now, if you're playing extremely offensively, so like you're using your bubble offensively, you're soaking your own circle and stuff like that, you can actually still use this talent build if you want. But if you play a little bit more defensively because maybe your guild can't handle the healing, or you're gonna have to use your bubble to stay alive at some point in the fight, and you can't use it offensively, then you might just want to go back to the passive talents, because again, they're just easier to play. So Righteous Verdict, Divine Purpose, Sanctified Wrath, or Crusade if it simulates better for you, which it probably doesn't. But just passive talents, it depends on the encounter that you're doing. But anything where you are mostly just sitting on the boss, even if you have mechanics to do, then this is the way to go, because it's going to do the most single target damage. You'll even see people using this and cleaving off of it. I mean, that's fine as well if that's working for you, because again, your main target is just taking that much extra damage from this that it ends up kind of working. So think of like a Verna Darkvein, a Nerva Darkvein. People are still using this combination. You're like, well, this is single target. Final Reckoning does help a little bit with AoE, and they are cleaving. It's not like they are all single targeting. They are cleaving the ads. So. They are actually using Empyrean power with this as well. So it's a really weird setup that you might not ever think to do. But right now, this is just really strong for Kyrian specifically, and kind of what you want to run. So even if you're not going to run it for every boss, you're not going to run it for every bit of content you do. It's good for PvP as well. If you're not going to run it for everything, that's fine. But you definitely want to learn how to do it, because there's going to be times where you probably want to do it. And Shriekwing is just a great example of where you're just kind of standing there, so you really should be doing it. Another good example kind of is Sludge Fist, to use it when he's on the pillars, because you're really bursting a lot of damage into him in a very short amount of time. So that's another example of where you would want to use this talent setup. So that's it for this update video. It's mostly Kyrian specific. I did want to give some reassurance to the Venthyr people that you don't have to switch, not yet. If you want to stick out with Venthyr, that's fine. But I did want to give some reassurances, but mostly wanted to update how things are going with Kyrian and this talent change. That I didn't think would happen till later in the expansion because of stats and gear, but it's just the way it is already. Just something wrong in the simulations. So, as always, I do ask you to subscribe to the channel because it helps me out so much. And other than that, everybody have a good one.